Okay, welcome everyone. This time I'd like to call to order our October park board meeting. Roll call, James.
Jose.
Here.
Robin. Here. Scott.
Here.
Dan.
Here.
Kristen. Here. Chuck.
Present. And at this time, if everyone could please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic and one nation. Thank you. Okay, the first part of the meeting is a little divided tonight for those that are here. We have a public hearing, and that will require an input session, and then our second regular input session. So the public hearing tonight is regarding declaratory resolution number 2025-4, the 2025 Park District bonds and the appropriation of the proceeds of the 2025 Park District bond. So at this time, if there's anyone wishing to speak to these items, you're welcome to approach the mic.
Okay.
Yeah, there's two
Yeah,
parts.
I understand. So,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to make
That's all
a
right.
mockery of the proceedings.
no, not at all.
Frank, District 815, Greenwood Avenue. The bond authorizes up to 5 million, though the identified projects total around 4.2. Will the town issue the full amount or only what's needed? And is the project list that we're seeing tonight the final one, or could it still change once the bond's in place? Thank you.
The one thing I talked about last meeting, and I don't know if you were here.
I was.
Okay, so I did mention, I want to make sure everybody understands that everything for Centennial Park is separate from this bond issue. So what's on the list now is currently what's on our list now. You can see it kind of extends out even beyond just next year itself. So that is our current list, and that should stay that way. The only other separate thing again would be the bond regarding, or the funding issue regarding Centennial Park project. And that's separate.
What about the issuance of the full amount of the bond? Gonna go for the 5 million or the 4.2?
I hope it goes to the 4.2.
Okay.
You know, what I found being on this board is costs change constantly
No, I
for things. So hopefully they don't, and they don't get extended or increased. But we are looking to keep it to what we originally proposed. I think the 5 million was there as a kind of our little.
Right,
anyway,
cushion,
okay,
right,
right,
kind of
right,
like bond.
exactly.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, I have
No, thank you.
Thank
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. So at this time then, since there's no other input, and thank you for your comments, we appreciate that. Then the public hearing is now closed, and we'll move to our public input session, our regular public input session.
Hi, Frank Fisher, 8015 Greenwood Avenue. I have a couple of questions regarding the agenda tonight. If it pleases the board, I'll just go through both of them, or do you want me to take one at a time?
No, go ahead.
Okay. First question is, I saw there's a new commercial photography permit fee in the updated schedule. I was wondering if there was an estimate on how much revenue is expected to be generated through this new fee. And I was also curious how it was going to be enforced.
We've always had that in that Schedule A.
Oh, it's
always been
okay.
included in there, but typically we haven't received any revenue from that. It's in there, but so we're protected in case someone comes about and has a formal request. We have the ability as staff, without having to come back to visit a park board meeting to get authorization for it. So if it's once every 3 or 4 years, that's about what we how it gets.
My mistake then, I thought that.
No, that's right.
That was a new fee. 'cause I
Nope,
know
nope, that's all
SCBA
that
one,
typically is, yeah.
y'all are looking for new fees, so I
Yeah.
thought that was, okay, my mistake. The other question I had was with respect to the on-call agreement with, HWC. It shows each task order will have its own not to exceed amount, but I don't see an overall spending cap in the contract itself. How are we gonna monitor that, or are we gonna monitor that?
Those would be case by case basis. Typically, those are gonna be smaller scale projects. And they will create a not to exceed at that time based upon their anticipated hours. The rate schedule is included within there.
Right.
And that'll have to come back every year as we get the updated rate schedule from them. What's currently in that agreement is the 2025 rate schedule. Will come back early in the new year or late, maybe even later this year with their 2026 rates, but those would be defining that to that extent. Those are meant to be for smaller scale projects. There was a few of them that were cited in there as examples. But yeah, anything large scale will definitely put out and get something defined ahead of time, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. This time we'll move to our administrative matters, and first up is the approval of our board minutes from the September 16th, 2025 meeting.
Look good to me, I'll approve. Motion to approve.
Roll call, James.
Somebody second.
Me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I said it quietly. I'm sorry.
Jose,
Yes.
Ron. Yes. Dan,
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes. The next item up for approval would be vouchers 25-10A through 25-10C. Most of them are typical monthly vouchers, but everyone got a chance. to look at them.
What was it that got canceled?
Yeah.
There's quite a few every month on that.
That was
Those are,
cash for Claire.
it was,
Oh,
that was,
oh,
yeah,
okay.
because of the rain, we had,
Oh.
yeah, unfortunately, that was what they were.
Yeah, it was, yeah, I was like, oh, what canceled?
Yeah. But there's always, and then you add on a couple of trips or a couple little programs and the list looks a little bit longer, so yeah, a lot of refunds almost.
Other than that, everything looked good to me. I'll motion to approve.
I'll second. Roll call, James.
Jose,
Yes.
Ron. Yes. Dan,
Yes.
Kristen.
Yes.
Yes. Next up is Mark with our October board report.
All right, I'm gonna highlight a few things here, for your awareness and knowledge. Westlake's Park Washroom Building, we had a pre-construction meeting out there. They should be starting hopefully any day. On October 7th, we had the pre-construction and they were hoping to be out there within 2 weeks. Unfortunately, as of yesterday, they weren't out there yet, but I know they're getting everything lined up and getting ready. Actually, kind of will work out well because soccer season, for the most part, with the exception of 2 U10 teams and our program after this coming weekend, they'll basically be done for the year, so they won't have as much potential conflict out there as they progress with construction. The Bridges Over Ditches project continues, that we're doing bi-weekly update construction meetings with the engineer and the contractor. That project is moving along. You're likely not going to see a completed bridge until June-ish or so of next year, but just they are moving along with that project. The clubhouse electrical redistribution plan, SCH is working on that plan still. That's to make sure we have all the electric that's out in the park, including the dog park gates. That all is fed through the clubhouse, needs to be fed to something else before we can demolish that building. So that is something that they're working on that plan to where to run those things and how they'll connect. That also includes the 3 pond fountains, one of which has failed this year and they couldn't get any repair parts for it. So we're going to be upgrading those as well as part of this electrical redistribution plan. Probably won't see that till the spring anyway with the fountains, because it's about the time of year where they start pulling them out for the winter months anyways. The Maynard Lake stocking, this was completed. When I submitted this report, I hadn't heard the information. I did check with DNR. They did stock the lake on October 8th. I guess I was envisioning much larger fish than what they put in. They put in 3,000 little inch and a quarter average size red fish. They are there. That she said, give it 2 years and you'll be catching those fish out there. So that's something that.
I heard a report after our council meeting on Monday night that over the weekend, Mike, who's usually at some park board meetings and many council meetings, he saw 2 fish caught that were this big or that big or this big. I don't know how big they were. And, he was amazed. He knew like those weren't stocked though. But he was amazed at the size of the fish in that lake. So.
It is a nice
Secondhand
addition, to do that entirely at no cost to us, that's a nice plus, so we're thanks to the DNR for that. We did have 40 trees in the last month or so, planted in the park system. We had 10 living tree memorials through the Lions Club that were donated. We had 8 trees through a community grant. There was 1, and 2 of those, 1 went to Eads and 1 went to Elliott Schools. And then we had 22 from the Little Calumet River Basin Commission, so thanks to Dan, 10 out at Bluebird and 12 out at Blue Burrowwood Park, that have all gone in, so quite a bit, and Kevin's crew is out now watering those one of the days that it's needed, so. Congratulations, Jill, she renewed her professional certification in the last month, so that
Good
continues her professional certification. That is something to, that is out there with the people in that particular industry. The Pumpkin Witches and Hay Rides had a big, strong participation. We had 419 wristbands sold. That was a 35% increase from the year previous, so you can see that. Definitely challenged. We thank Public Works. They brought out their bucket truck and we did a candy drop from their bucket truck, so that was a big hit this year. So that was something that was neat. The Beaker Woods Night Walk that was supposed to be this past Saturday, unfortunately got rained out. People were upset. We made the call a little bit early. That's something we worked with the Girl Scouts on, and we just unfortunately couldn't find another date that worked for all of them with their troops. Some of the troops are from St. Tom's, and this coming weekend, they have their, I think that's fall break, is that what it was? So, unfortunately, we weren't able to reschedule that. On the, most of the stuff there, yep, and I'll leave you with that. With things, we'll record unless you have any questions on anything.
Pretty straightforward.
Next is items for discussion, and these are the resolutions in reference to how we began the meeting tonight. So, we are going to go through each one individually, briefly. I'll introduce it and Mark will speak on each of those. 2025-4 was what we approved last month. So we will start with resolution 2025-05.
And this is a confirmatory resolution of the Board of Parks and Recreation of the Town of Munster, Lake County, Indiana, regarding a declaratory resolution previously adopted by the board for the purpose of approving certain parks projects of the town of the Town Department of Parks and Recreation and certain matters related thereto.
And I should have said, hope everybody's had a chance to look these over. Again, we are looking to approve each one individually. So,
motion to approve 2025-05.
I'll second
I
it.
got the hint.
well, I didn't nudge it. Roll call, please, Janice.
Jose,
Yes.
Robin, yes, Dan,
Yes.
Kristen.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Everybody approved it 3 times. I got the hint. All right.
Next is resolution 2025-06.
This is a resolution of the Board of Parks and Recreation of the Town of Munster, Lake County, Indiana, appropriating the proceeds of the Town of Munster, Indiana Park District bonds of 2025, including all investment earnings thereon and related matters.
Motion to approve 2025-06.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Should have asked about.
Sorry. Well, after the motion.
Okay, roll call.
Jose,
Yes.
Robin, yes, Dan,
Yes.
Kristen.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes. Next is 2025-07.
This is a resolution of the Board of Parks and Recreation of the Town of Munster, Indiana Park District, authorizing the issuance of Town of Munster, Indiana Park District bonds of 2025 for the purpose of providing funds to be applied to pay for certain parks projects and incidental expenses in connection therewith and on account of the issuance of the bonds.
Motion to approve resolution 2025-07.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Jose,
Yes.
Robin, yes. Dean,
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
Yes. Our next item is landfill related surplus equipment, and this is nothing more than scrapping equipment.
This, yeah, with the new generator and corresponding work at the gas energy generator at the landfill, there's definite equipment and old material that's out there that's no longer used or needed. And there's a sketch that's part of this memo that highlights those two areas that Clark Energy supplied us with. And this is the old equipment that's there basically is just gonna be scrap value for us. So that's one section of this. The other one is on sketch B, which is similar. This is the behind the golf shanty building. So at the driving range where the ball machine is to get the balls for the driving range, behind that building, this is the old flare, the original flare and its associated parts and equipment that were there that is no longer needed because it's all, when the flare is needed, we use the flare that's down by the maintenance garage and by the generator since the methane has been redirected that direction. So by declaring these both as surplus, we would allow our staff to be able to do what's necessary as time permits to remove the equipment and scrap it. So we do recommend declaring the items identified within the red boxes in these two attached sketches as surplus equipment and authorize the staff to dispose of the equipment as scrap.
Okay. We need to approve the scrapping.
Motion to approve the scrap.
I'll second it.
Roll call, James.
Jose,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes. Next is resolution 2025-08, and this is the schedule of fees.
Yeah, so we used to refer to this as Schedule A. We wanted to get away from that, but some of you have been on the board previously a longer period of time remember it as that. We have a Schedule A at the council level, so we've gotten away from that, but just so you're aware of that to be the case. So this is a resolution amending the Parks and Recreation Schedule of Fees. Due to the impact of SEA 1 increase and anticipated increasing NIPSCO rates, every department of the town has been reevaluating their current fee structure. This is an updated resolution of the Schedule of Fees. For our department, the list of fees will continue to be amended seasonally as each recreation guide is completed. You remember when we bring a brochure out, we bring a new set of seasonal fees and those become an amendment to this document. A few notable that I want to point out that are included within this and that were suggested as we've gone through this with staff and some conversations at the council level. The Centennial Park parking fees, we are recommending that and it's included within here to change that from $2 an hour to $3 an hour, from $5 per day to $6 per day, and from $120 annually to $130 annually. Residents will continue to still be able to register up to 4 plates per year for free. That's one of the fees that's included in here. Our dog park fees, which haven't been increased in several years, we increased those $5 per category on just about all membership categories. So when I say categories, there's resident rates, non-resident rates. There's dog per dog, 1 dog for 2 dogs for 3 dogs. We have various rates. So that same table that we've had, they've all gone up by 5, except for 1, which is the non-resident's first dog is going to go up by 10 to keep it on the non-resident parking $130. We don't want someone to come in and say, I'm getting a dog park pass just to get a parking pass to save them a few bucks. So we want to make sure that they're on the same tier. Pool fees, the non-resident daily fee was increased by $1 per category. The season pass fees were increased by $5 across all categories. The resident daily admission, we left as it was. And then facility rental rates were increased across all categories with one exception. The Centennial Park shelter, we actually decreased that to be the same as what the community park shelters and the White Oak shelter would be. Previously, we've been giving them a QR code for free parking when you book the shelter out there. We're no longer gonna do that. So you're gonna pay for the rental of the shelter, but then everybody who comes, your guests are all gonna have to pay to park. So money will be coming in a different way, as well as paying the fee to reserve it, but that also reduces some of the impact internally that we have to make sure to get them their QR code days before and dealing with the people who didn't scan it in correctly and getting, problems that just takes up a lot of office time. So that's why we did that for that particular, table there. So with that, we're recommending the approval of this resolution 2025-08 as presented.
I'll make a motion to do that. 2025-08.
I'll second it.
Any questions?
The only thing I'll mention is, as Mark mentioned, this is being done throughout the whole town. Last night, the council, or yeah, it was last night, approved some alarm fees and different things that we have repeating fees throughout the town. Built business licenses and stuff like that also. So this is an ongoing thing, really for the staff to really uncover the true cost of these services that we have. And again, to do the true cost of service, that takes more than a couple months here, but this is I would say the first phase in a pretty lengthy process, a lengthy review that staff is undergoing, but it's not just the park department, it is the whole wide town.
Mark, are there increases in other, you mentioned a couple examples, but advertising or player fees, have we seen increases there or?
We did not increase any player fees or the teenager membership fees. We left those as they were. Some of the advertising fees, we did try to just clean those up a little bit to make them make sense always from a quarter page to a half page to a full page, making sure things like that are in line with each other. But for the most part, the ones that I highlighted are probably the bigger consideration ones. And then we'll continue to be looking at this each season as the brochure goes out with it, and each individual program. I think that the other thing that's important for us there, just to point out, and I think you guys know this, but the Parks and Recreation Department is, I refer to us as a choice department. Nobody has to use these services. You're not mandated. When the town, if the town were to change water rates, you're gonna pay it. You don't have another supplier to go to get it. For recreational purposes, you could go somewhere else, or just say, I'm not gonna go to the parks and not pay these fees. So I think that there's a tipping point somewhere where if these fees get too drastically increased, people are just gonna say, I'm just not gonna rent the shelter any longer. So they'll cut out that way, which then, of course, then that also becomes lost revenue potentially for us. So we're in a little bit of a situation where we have to, more so than any other department with their fees, that we kind of have to find what's somebody willing to pay, if you will, for those things. And we look at a lot of times our supply and demand, how much our social center rentals, for instance, how often people are in our board report, you see the monthly rentals that we go through. Those are in high demand, the weekends, especially all summer long, May, June, July, with the graduations and all the various kinds of parties that they have there. So those are things that we want to make sure that we're capitalizing on as much as possible, but at the same point, also understanding that we're also a service to the community that for these types of events and activities too.
Yeah, and the reason I mentioned that is, look, I have kids that are in baseball and softball and soccer, so like I pay these fees too, and I think if you experimented with like $1 increase per player, that's a cost that people would absorb, but also, given the volume, that could be a lot more than somebody who's registering their dog at work. So like,
Right.
especially if you're increasing it $1 or something, just
Right.
something to consider.
Gradual.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So like, you don't want it to be too much, but given the, the tax implications that will be seen in change. So I think it's something worth considering for the future.
I would rather see some gradual, and at some point, we have to talk to them about increase in care of those fields that were
Right.
taken care of for them. It's gotta pass along to their fees, And I agree with those eight, you know, you don't wanna say, okay, you're going from 25 to 50.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
But a gradual, for some that are really low, maybe a $5 increase.
Yeah.
For others that are higher, maybe $1 or $2, but I think as long as we're covering the cost of caring for those fields.
Yeah, and they do a lot. I mean, the leagues do a lot. I mean, we
Sure.
handle obviously grass mowing and fertilization for the most part. But you know, like especially on the ball field side of things, they're dragging, they're chalking, they're doing the specialized work that they need done for their facilities. Where it also comes in though is the capital improvements when, you know, the batting cage and that's a few years ago had to be
Right.
replaced. That was a cost that we absorbed, you know. But they will also make capital improvements. Little League has done, the turf around the home plate on fields, beat. Can't remember which field that is now. Yeah, whichever one. But they make some capital improvements from time to time, and we want to encourage that. I don't want them to get, when I typically, I just recently sent out reminder emails to most of the organizations about those fees if they haven't paid them for this year yet. There's always that hesitation. There's a learning curve every time there's a new board president or board member that gets involved. Why are we paying these? What's that for? So that is something that, you know, we're cognizant about, and we want people to use the parks. We want these organizations to be strong and be good partners for us. But I think it's one that we can look at down the road and looking at increasing those, you know, incrementally over time.
Any other discussion or question? Okay. Roll call, Tim?
Oh, we did a resolution for that.
Yes.
Also the surplus one. Yeah. So I'll have to draft that.
Okay, great. A motion and second, yes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, roll call, please.
Jose,
Yes.
Robin? Yes. Dan?
Yes.
Kristen?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes. Our last one is, as mentioned earlier, our professional services agreement, and this is in regards to HWC for on-call services.
And HWC, with their familiarity of having completed our master plan and doing some of the work for us out, planning processes out at Centennial, I think it's wise to engage them in this. And some of the examples that we put in there are, for instance, the gazebo at Heritage Park and the accessible route to get to it, and making sure that, you know, that's going to be on the scope of anyone within our department. The arch, the idea of an arch to reflect the one that's at the state line at the other end of town where we're coming in from Cherville to the bike path. You know, playground at what we talked about, going into Beach to do the new playground there, or at Centennial, and some of these other scopes of these projects where we can get them working on some of these things to help us out, to help us even get to the point of some original estimates on some of these things. So we want to have that availability where it's on call and not have the delay of and the inefficiency of having to wait till the next park board meeting, bring it in here as a proposal, then we get started with them. So if we have something in place already, this allows us to, hey, pick up the phone, get them out here, or talk to them and start working through some of these things early on. And hopefully it'll expedite. We know the projects we want to do because they're in our bond issues. It's just a matter of, okay, how do we get to that finish line quicker than what we have in the past? So.
All right, so we are looking to approve the services agreement with HWC tonight.
And I would ask if you can authorize, if you can make in your motion to have me authorized to sign that agreement. Make it easier.
I'll make that motion to say what he's just said. Authorize him to sign
Authorize.
the agreement between HWC and the parks.
I'll second.
Any questions? No? Roll call, James?
Jose,
Yes.
Robin? Yes. Dan?
Yes.
Kristen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I apologize. So before we adjourn, and I've done this 2 months in a row, so it's my fault. Mr. Gardner doesn't throw anything at me. I'm not trying to slight you.
So I better have a report now. I
Exactly. I know you already had.
better say something.
He's built you up.
I better say something now.
Mr. Gardner, do you have anything?
Okay, I will say two things, two announcements. The Sustainability Committee that the town is working with the school town of Munster and the Chamber of Commerce on. We have had 12 residents apply to be on that committee. We reviewed applications last night, and we will be meeting, the full committee will be meeting on November 10th at 4 o'clock here in the town hall. Those meetings are open to the public, so if you're not on the committee, but you want to see what's going on, you're more than welcome to attend. That's Monday, November 10th at 4 p.m. Later that evening at 7:30, the Civic Foundation is starting a new program for next year, offering community groups the opportunity to grants. So if you're looking to put together an event, fundraiser, beautify an area, the Civic Foundation will have a grant program. We're gonna have a question and answer period on Monday, November 10th at 7:30. Civic Foundation is still going to continue to sponsor the Centennial Park Concert Series. We worked with Mark and Jill this past month clarifying that, but this is just something a little bit added. So if you know individual groups, community groups, neighborhood groups, or formal groups like a junior women's club or quite frankly, even the park department, they have some other ideas that they want to get out. That's what this grant program is about, just improving events throughout the town or placemaking type ideas.
Has the Civic Foundation talked about a limit to the grants, or,
Yes,
and do we know that?
we're between $20,000 and $25,000 this next year that we'll be giving out to different groups. If there's that many that apply.
You should create.
Thinking.
That's right. My bad, their house.
Thank you.
That would be epic.
I'll go. All right, anything else, Mr. Gardner?
That's it.
Thank you very much. Our next meeting will be November 18th, 2025 at 5 p.m. And at this time, all in favor of adjournment?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. I know. No, secretary's got work all day long. I just start laughing.
You're tired.
We are going to.